9 years later. 9 years, 2 wars, thousands of suicide bombings and murders done in the name of a higher power, and yet the one group of people you would have expected to have learned the most from all this insanity is the one group of people behaving the most irresponsibly. And yes, I'm talking about the news media and their continuing coverage of some goofball minister in Florida with fewer than 50 congregants who put out the word that he wants to burn some Korans. They took a guy who's got God's phone number on speed dial and turned him into a monster. And now he's got religious leaders and politicians and generals and even the Secretary of Defense hanging on his every word because they are so afraid of the reaction of the Muslim world to his actions. And yes, there are a few commentators out there wringing their hands over this mess they've created, but rather than accepting the hard responsibility of the consequences of their action, they instead do what they always do in these situations, which is to hide behind the Fifth Amendment, no better than the craziest member of the NRA who does the same thing every time he demands to own cop-killing bullets. And yes, they do have a choice. Nothing in the Constitution requires them to report upon a trumped-up news story which they created for no better purpose than to sell newspapers and to get TV remotes pointed in the direction of their news stations. 9 years ago, a group of religious fanatics hijacked a bunch of planes and used them to kill people and drive home their message of religious intolerance. And now here we are, 9 years later, and a religious fanatic in Florida has hijacked the news media and threatened to crash it into the Muslim world. Except in this instance, there was no struggle in the cabin, and the cockpit door was held wide open with the news anchors inside welcoming him in.